Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today's video is actually a really exciting one for me because, as you can see behind me, the GTR is actually not currently in the garage. It's actually up at a shop getting the engine built. Now, I've owned this car now since 2016, so it's about 6.5 years now, and it's gone through a number of different iterations. Yeah, so it's just really an exciting time for me to really kind of be adding the power now that I've basically wanted to do since I got the car. So first things first, the car is actually up at a shop in Western Pennsylvania called OST Dyno. The guy that's working on the car, his name is Micah Dobon. He's actually got one of the fastest H-pattern GTRs in the US, if not North America, actually. Can't say enough good things about working with Micah. Been really pleased with our interaction so far. Like I said, the car's up there at their shop right now. He said he needs it for probably about 4 to 6 weeks. We're about halfway through that now. So hopefully by the end of April-ish or something like that, we'll have the car back. Yeah, basically I've been going back and forth for pretty much almost a year on what I wanted to do overall with my build, whether or not I just wanted to pull the car, whether or not I want to just pull the engine down and put forged pistons and rods in it, with some new bearings and just keep the stock crank, whether or not I wanted to go with a stroker kit. Did I want to stay with a regular flat drive and put a billet gear in it? Did I want to do spline drive? Did I want to stay twin turbo? Did I want to switch to a single turbo? So obviously there's tons of different configurations that you can have on these cars. But what I ended up deciding at the end was that I wanted to stay twin turbo and I wanted to stay low mount twins. I had given some thought to actually whether or not I wanted to pull the engine myself and then get the engine to a machine shop myself and then pick it up. Did I want to take it and drop it to a workshop? Ultimately, I decided that I wanted to outsource the work because you know, I'm fairly busy and I've got 2 little kids and we've got tons of events and things going on, and I just figured I didn't want the car taken apart on jack stands in my car for, you know, the better part of 6 months or a year or even longer. Than, you know, a lot of people end up doing that, and I just didn't want to do it that way. So I decided to take it to a shop to have the work done. Yeah, like I mentioned before, OST Dyno has the car now and I should have it back pretty soon. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the build list then. Starting with the engine, I actually decided that I was going to do a 2.8 liter stroker kit, and the kit is actually from Spool. I looked at kits from Nitto, Spool from on the Aussie side. I also looked at Brian Crower from the US, and I also looked at HKS from Japan as well. And ultimately we landed on the Spool stroker. All of them are great kits. We ended up picking the Spool one because that was at Micah's recommendation. He's got a Spool kit in his car, and his car runs low 9s at well over 150 miles an hour in the trap, and which is more than I would ever need or want really for my car. I really decided to go with the stroker for the torque, as well as, and I also decided to put a V-cam on the car, so this thing should be pretty rowdy. I've also decided to go with the spline drive oil pump. It's in an N1 housing, but it's actually a billet spline driven oil pump gear, and it's made by Spool as well. It's going to have an ATI damper. This is going to be the 750 horsepower version. It's going to have all new gasket, a new full gasket kit with a multi-layer metal head gasket. The top end of the engine is going to have the cam baffles from High Octane. They are basically the same kit as the Mines one. It has the mesh kind of foam that sits in the top there to try to stop too much of the oil vapors from getting out. I'm getting a Garage 101 9-liter sump extension, which is going to be really cool. I also have a Greddy oil cooler kit with a relocation. I'm also getting a plenum ready kit from Remade in USA, so that way the throttle bodies will all be refreshed and it'll look really nice on the cold side of the engine. I'm also putting in a PRP alternator kit, as well as the PRP R32 coil pack kit. I'm actually going to be putting in the HKS trigger kit with the VCAM version, which is really cool because it actually picks up the home signal off of the VCAM rather than having to take it off of the front side of the exhaust cam. So that's actually really cool. The drivetrain is going to be stock transmission, so not doing anything with the transmission. However, I am going to be putting in a Quaife LSD into the front, all new bearings and seals. I'm going to be putting in a direct clutch services twin plate from Australia. I believe it's going to be the 8-inch version. And then the rear diff is just going to be shimmed stock rear limited slip diff. So the head is going to be getting a 3-angle valve job. It's going to be standard sized valves. It's basically going to be all SuperTech gear, so new valve guides, new valve springs, new shims, all the associated machine work to make everything fit. The head will not be getting extensively ported, but the really cool part of what's going in this is a step 2 V-cam on the intake side, and it's going to get an HKS 272 step 1 on the exhaust side, so that should make it breathe pretty well. So the ECU I'm going to be using is a Haltech Elite 2500. That's also going to be coupled with the Haltech's WB1 wideband. I'm going to be running a number of different engine protection mechanisms, so I'll have coolant temperature, I'll have oil temperature, oil pressure, fuel pressure. It's going to have a MAC valve that Haltech will control boost. I'll also have a flex fuel sensor because I'm going to run E85. So basically that's the electronic setup. Most of the things are going to be all from Haltech. All right, so fuel system, what are we going to do? Just like I mentioned a minute ago, it's going to be E85, and we're going to be doing a full fuel setup in order to make that work. The injectors are going to be from Injector Dynamics. They're going to be ID 1300s. I'm going to be running twin TI Auto 285 pumps. It's going to have the hardwire kit, so I'll have new relays and everything set up, and they are going to actually flush and reuse the HICAS lines underneath the car. So actually we'll have AN fittings welded onto the HICAS line, so that's kind of cool to have that run through there. And then the fuel rail setup will be from Radium. So last thing to talk about is my turbo setup. A couple weeks ago I put a video of my turbos, which are from Spectrum Motorsports. I'll put a link here for that video as well. These are their 47R turbos. I've got an HKS hard piping kit, the ones that run down to the intercooler. The intercooler that I have in there I have a video for that. I'll put a link into that one. But the intercooler is from HPI. I have an HPI set of elbows. So coming off of the turbo are the HPI elbows, and that goes into the HPI equal length downpipe. And then that goes out to the back, which is, it's a DCAT. I think it's from Kakimoto that I got from Japan, and then an HKS high power silent 95mm catback exhaust. Yeah, so that's the whole turbo setup, and you know, there'll be some other things kind of touched up in the engine bay, cam covers, so like the valve cover, centerpiece, as well as the plenum. They're all going to be getting powder coated, so everything basically in the engine bay is getting refreshed. It should look really nice when it's all done. Plus you couple that with the Remade in USA plenum kit. It's just, everything's going to look great. I'm really excited about having this car back. There's probably some other things that I'm forgetting, but that's kind of the general overview about what I'll be getting done. So like I said, when I get the car back, I'll do another video kind of filming all the things that got done, and I'll walk through all that kind of stuff then, so stay tuned for that video. This video ended up being a lot longer than I was expecting, but if you watched all the way through the end, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.